Before we jump into the video, I'd like to point out that I'm hosting a giveaway very soon and I have some great gifts to share. All you gotta do is subscribe to my channel and I will reveal more details in the coming videos. So turn those notifications on and stick around. Now let's get on with this video. Canon made a lot of buzz with the launch of the EOS R5 and the R6. Whether it impressed a lot of people or not, that's a topic up for debate. But there's no denying the R5 has some major issues. And yes, there are now options that you can use to cool down the camera a bit, but I doubt many people are gonna use that. All things aside, this is still a fantastic camera and I have seen some footage out of the R5 and it's really good. And irrespective of all its flaws, a lot of people are gonna buy it. Hey guys, what's up? Kunal, Singh here, and we are gonna take a look at what kind of glass you need for your R5 for shooting video. Canon launched its mirrorless lens lineup with the EOS R back in 2018. And these lenses turned out to be so good that everybody complained that the EOS R body couldn't take full advantage of these lenses. But that changed with the launch of the EOS R5 and R6. These are now proper flagship cameras with flagship features. Nonetheless, the RF lenses received a lot of love and the lineup now includes about 15 lenses covering focal lengths from 15mm all the way to 800mm. With so many options to choose from, I'll tell you my picks for when I go shooting with a Canon body. Starting off our list is the fantastic RF 15-35 f2.8 L IS USM lens. That's a mouthful. But Canon makes everything perfectly clear in the name of its lenses. The RF means it's a native RF mount lens, which is Canon's new mirrorless mount. The L denotes that this is a pro lens. I think it stands for luxury, but whatever. The L series lenses have this red ring around the lens to differentiate them from regular lenses. The IS stands for image stabilization and the USM stands for ultrasonic motor. The 16-35 is my all-time favorite lens, and if I can carry just one lens with me for a shoot, I'm 94% sure I'm carrying this lens. The Canon's RF version is actually 15mm on the wider side, so it's nice to have an extra millimeter of width. This lens is tack sharp across the board, and since this lens is image stabilized and the Canon R5 body also has pretty good in-body stabilization, this combo can deliver really smooth shots even without a gimbal. Of course, if you wish, you could turn the stabilizer off if you need that organic handle movement, which I'm a big fan of. This lens has a control ring which you can configure to control your ISO, shutter speed or aperture. Personally, I don't use the control ring much since I'm mostly putting focus manually, and if by accident I turn the control ring, the next thing I know, I'm shooting at 50,000 ISO in broad daylight. But when I do need it, I always map it to change the aperture for shooting videos. This lens is also weather resistant, so it can handle a few sprinkles of water without any issues. For those who use autofocus, this lens will not disappoint you. Canon's tried and tested dual pixel autofocus got some upgrades with the R5 and R6, and this lens can take full advantage of that and give you some amazing autofocus capabilities. This is a must-have lens for you if you're serious about filmmaking, and this is an investment that you won't regret. The second lens on my list is the RF 50mm 1.2 lens. This is one crazy lens, and let's be honest for a second, you don't buy an f1.2 lens to stop it down. And this lens gives you the perfect excuse to shoot wide open at 1.2, and that's how sharp this lens is. The sharpness and color reproduction is so good that it falls into Zeiss Otus category. You get nice smooth bokeh at 1.2 and autofocus is still great even when you're wide open. This is quite a big and heavy lens, just shy of a kilogram. I'd not be surprised if it turns out to be one of the heaviest 50mm lens out there, not including cinema lenses of course. The RF 50mm doesn't feature any built-in image stabilization, so if you really need it, you're left with just the IBIS of the R5 or R6 body. The build quality of this lens is superb and it's also weather resistant. The 50mm is always my go-to lens for close performance shots and detailed close-ups for my music videos. And although it's big and bulky, you could still put it on a gimbal and get incredibly smooth shots. Overall, this is a great lens to have on you when you go on a shoot. If you need a cheaper alternative, take a look at the Canon EF 50mm 1.2 lens or even the Zeiss Planar 50mm 1.4, but you'll have to use an adapter with these lenses. The third and final lens on this list is probably the favorite lens of almost every photographer out there, the 70-200 f2.8 lens. But don't worry, this lens is just as good for video. Giving you a nice focal length room to play, this lens really shines above the 100mm range. The RF 70-200 lens is equally as good as its EF counterpart, if not even better. This lens is always in my kit whenever I'm shooting a wedding or an event. It gives you that extra reach when you cannot climb up the stage to film your subject. Autofocus is fast and silent, and this is again an L series lens, which means there is no compromise on the image quality. Image stabilization is also there, and you can choose between 3 different IS modes. Mode 1 is used for still subjects and corrects vibrations in all directions. Mode 2 is for moving objects and when you need to pan the camera. And Mode 3 is just an upgraded version of Mode 2 and stabilizes only during exposures. Whether you want to shoot a social event, wildlife film or a sports event, this lens will give you incredible flexibility and you also get top-notch image quality. For alternatives, you can take a look at the Sigma HSM Sports lens or the Tamron G2 lens. And that concludes my list of the top 3 lenses you can get for the R5 and R6 for filmmaking and video. In my opinion, these lenses will cover most of your video needs and give you super sharp and incredible image that you can be proud of. Let me know if there's any other lens you think should be on this list and what are your top 3 favorite lenses for filmmaking. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, keep an eye out for the giveaway details. Till next one, take care.